Good morning. Yeah. Could everyone be seated? Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming out on this rainy morning. I'm Chris Hill, General Sales Manager at WBZ News Radio, and we want to welcome everyone. And again, thank you for coming on this popular topic of paying, financing, and getting into college. We have a great panel here, and this is our fourth annual on this topic, and we're going to be continuing this every year because every year there's a new crop of people trying to put people in college. As they say, necessity is the mother of invention, and I just put a child into college, and it can be a very overwhelming and daunting experience, just gathering all the information. But we have a great panel, and it's going to make that process all the easier for you guys. So let's get started. And before we get started, I'd like to introduce Senior Vice President, General Manager of WBZ News Radio and CBS Market Manager, Mark Hannon. Thanks.
Thank you, Chris. I'm trying to move this up. Good morning, everybody. I want to thank you all for being here. As Chris pointed out, we've been doing business breakfast for about 20 years, and this is by far, I think, the most popular topic. It's a topic that continues to evolve and change every year. I believe last year was the most competitive application process in the history of the country for incoming freshmen. So from the BZ perspective, it's terrific to have this distinguished panel here. I am the father of a 16 and 14-year-old as well, so I'm going to be crossing this bridge soon. And it's not only the process of applying to colleges, but obviously how to finance it once you get there. And I think it's ever evolving, and this distinguished panel today is going to help all of us kind of navigate those waters. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Anthony Silva, co-host of the Afternoon News and editor of New England Business on WBZ News Radio 1030.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well, good morning. Let's check traffic in the threes. It was a mess this morning, wasn't it? Well, it's great to see you all here this morning, especially fighting the rain and the traffic and everything else. This has been a very popular topic over the years, and as we all agree, the challenge grows. This is the fourth WBZ Business Breakfast focused on education that we've had going back to 2003, dating back to the business of education in November of 2003 when we had the then interim president of UMass, Jack Wilson. He graduated after doing that event. Gene Shaheen, at the time, former governor of New Hampshire, the Education Commissioner Dave Driscoll, and Dr. Samuels, and he's back with us today, so thank you very much, sir. We are focusing today on paying for college. It sends a shiver down your spine, doesn't it? The admissions process and financial assistance, and there'll be no one-day degree that we award you today, but we hope that when you walk out of here in just a couple of hours, that you will have a much better idea on how you can master that individual educational maze. Paying for college has not gotten any easier, as we all know. Students are working more, grandparents are giving more, parents are giving more, and some kids are literally eating less just so they can pay for college. Grandparents, aunts and uncles and step-parents are digging deeper and getting deeper in debt to meet their obligation, their tuition. And they have been successful, though, and that's the real jewel here. College enrollment has increased dramatically. At last check, a record 40% of 18 to 24-year-olds are taking at least one college course. Many adults, including my wife, return to school because of the failing and changing job market. The total number of college students will exceed about 19 million this year. So how can we afford tuition at the school you desire? How can you meet those college costs? And what scholarship programs, aid programs, financial assistance programs will you be applying for? Private lenders, family savings that you'll raid. Well, today, that's why we're here. And I wanted to welcome our entire panel up to the stage. Would you please come up and take your seat? Bill Fitzsimmons, Dean of Admissions and Financial Aid at Harvard. John Mahoney, Dean of Undergraduate Admission at Boston College. Liliana Mickle, Director of Undergraduate Admissions at UMass Boston. Dr. Joseph Moore, the President of Lesley University. And Dr. James Samuels, President and CEO of the Education Alliance. Thank you all for coming this morning. Now, what would a business breakfast be like if we did not thank our sponsors? And that's why this public service works for WBZ as it has over the last few decades. We want to thank our presenting sponsors, the First Republic Bank, Worcester Polytechnic Institute, Stonehill College, Toshiba Business Solutions, Lesley University, the Cape Cod Getaway MS Bike Ride, 93 Financial Group, IBEW Local 103, UMass Dartmouth, and the South Coast Development Partnership. Also, thank you to our associate sponsors, Simmons College, Dragon Naturally Speaking Software from Nuance, Sylvan Learning Centers, Risk Strategies Company, and MIFA. Thank you so much. And now we go to the next mic and the other studio. Hello. Thank you very much for coming this morning. I appreciate it. Let's start with Bill. And Bill, you've joined us before at these events, and I know that Harvard has made many changes over the years to expand your admissions, to expand the diversity of your student body. Tell us about some of the changes at Harvard to make your university not just more welcoming, but easier for kids and families to approach.
Well, you're right. There have been lots of changes in a very short period of time. And I've just out of curiosity, as I look around here, how many people here are seniors in high school, just out of curiosity? How about, okay, some one, two. How about juniors? More. Juniors? And the parents can put their hands up if they're representing the juniors. How about sophomores? And how about younger? Ooh, very interesting.
Parents of kindergartners.
This is very good. Okay.
A couple.
Okay, there we are. Never too early, as they say. There have been lots of changes at Harvard in a very short period of time, and financial aid is one of the big ones. We have a brand new program that has a couple of different components. One is that there are no longer any loans required of students who are on financial aid. You still would have to do what I did. I was on full financial aid, full need financial aid. You have to work about 10 or 12 hours a week. You can do research. You can do, as I did, dorm crew, or you can work in the admissions office. We have lots of students. But essentially, if you do that, you will graduate without any debt whatsoever. It also would be free for families like mine. We would certainly be under $60,000 a year family income, and so the family would have to pay nothing. And then from $60,000 to about $120,000, it goes from that zero sliding up to about 10% of the annual income. So that would mean at $100,000, you'd pay about $10,000 a year to go to Harvard. And then from $120,000 to $180,000, it's 10%. And then, so at $160,000, it'd be $16,000 a year, to go to Harvard. There are families, some families, even with incomes greater than $180,000, who might have multiple students in college. They might have unusual expenses. They might, for example, be taking care of their own parents or the grandparents of the student, who might still end up with some sort of need-based financial aid. So lots of changes. I would say, it's a fantastic time to go to college in so many different ways. I think there have been lots of exciting changes in financial aid over the past 3 or 4 or 5 years, in particular across the country. I travel every year to 120 cities with Georgetown, Penn, Duke, and Stanford, and to another 20 cities with UVA and Princeton. And I was just talking yesterday with someone who graduated from Bates College. He was saying, wow, I would love to go back to Bates, just even for a week, given how many great changes that have occurred there. And as I think of not just Harvard, but let's say Lesley, Boston College, UMass, all the colleges I travel with, these are all institutions that have made dramatic changes over the past 5 to 10 years. So not just in financial aid, but in so many other different ways. We have a new School of Engineering and Applied Sciences, for example. We have a new curriculum, general education program. We have a new freshman seminar program. The list would go on at all of our institutions. The food is better at all of our institutions today. So it is a great time to go to college, and I hope that no one makes a decision not to go to college because of the money, because it is a fabulous time in America. As we go around the world recruiting, I think it's fair to say that American higher education really is setting the gold standard for the world. So I look around here, and I would highly encourage any of the young people and any of the families, to think about stretching themselves and making certain that everything is done to develop the talents of the sons and daughters here as fully as possible, because we're waiting to try to make that experience really great. And these are transformative experiences at these institutions. I mean, I can't tell you what a difference going to college, going to Harvard made to me, but we all have these stories, and as I listen to the stories of the other colleges I travel with, it really is inspiring what kinds of possibilities we have. If American students take full advantage of higher education as it is today, and will be, because we keep trying to improve, I think America has a bright future. I'm not a pessimist, I think, the way lots of people are about what might happen. But we need to use the talents of all of our students, not just the rich and not just a few other people. We need to use the talents of middle income and low and moderate income students and families as well. So if you're here today, I'm probably preaching to the choir.
Thank you so much. And of course, we want to open the floor to questions very soon as we talk to each of our participants.